Minister, your government just announced another $100 million for Gaza and the West Bank, on top of more than $500 million already sent since late 2023. In fact, you issued flexible and unearmarked funding without Canadian controls a day after the UN fired 70 workers for deep ties to Hamas terrorists. We've seen multiple reports of Canadian aid being directed to, stolen, or controlled by Hamas in the past. How can you guarantee taxpayers that none of this money will end up in the hands of terrorists or be redirected by the Palestinian Authority to support Hamas operations? And can you let us know how safeguards failed to allow Canadian aid to support Hamas?
I thank the honourable member for the question. I want to specifically reinforce a very important point. The Government of Canada does not tolerate any misuse or diversion of international assistance. We work with experienced humanitarian partners. We work to deliver life-saving assistance, and partners are required to maintain strong internal controls. In addition to those internal controls, my department carries out enhanced due diligence, and any partner receiving Government of Canada money is thoroughly vetted. And I want to specifically underline with regards to Hamas, we have repeatedly said, and I will underscore it here today, Hamas should play no part in the future government of Palestine, and Hamas should demilitarize, and in no way does this government associate itself with Hamas. I have my officials here if you'd like to have questions answered on the due diligence process.
Minister, respectfully, in the past 5 years, your own numbers show that Canada has sent over $11 billion in aid to dozens of countries that are under Canadian sanctions or with terrible human rights records. And I have an order paper question to prove it, so you can't deny this. It's OPQ 328. This paints a picture that Canadian taxpayer dollars are being laundered through bilateral and multilateral projects to regions under sanctions. So why are you issuing this funding?
Canada has had a long-standing foreign policy, or part of our foreign policy, dedicated to humanitarian aid. If you look at Cuba, if you look at Lebanon, if you look at Gaza, if you look at Sudan, there is a clear line that is supporting our values and Canadians' values relating to humanitarian aid. And on the integrity of the aid, I do take issue with the point that our due diligence is not effective. We take every precaution to ensure that our aid reaches civilians and that the due diligence process before it is delivered is functional, is rigorous, it contains oversight, and is upheld to the highest standards. These safeguards are the cornerstone of our approach, and I would ask Madame Carruthers if she'd like to add to that particular response.
Yes, certainly. In terms of some of the development assistance that has gone to some of the countries that you are alluding to, I can just say that in some cases it has actually flown through multilateral organizations, and so countries such as India, China, for example, they are eligible for development assistance under the ODA Act, and so
Sorry, my time is very short. Minister, shouldn't the compassion start at home with the people who built and defended this country? I believe Canadians deserve that transparency before we send another cent to anyone who does not directly contribute to our country. So I'm asking, will you commit to a full public audit of all Canadian aid funding so that we can know exactly where every dollar went and proof that it hasn't benefited terrorists, corrupt foreign officials, or been siphoned away into bureaucracies abroad?
Mr. Chair, with great respect to the honourable member, I do not accept the premise of the question. We will not apologize for helping people both at home and abroad.
Minister, my question was, will you commit to a full public audit of all Canadian aid funding so that we know exactly where every dollar went and proof that it hasn't benefited terrorists or corrupt foreign officials or hasn't been siphoned away into bureaucracies abroad?
actually part of my continuing to appear at committee, part of the supplementary estimates process, part of the work that the Treasury Board of Canada does before it releases any funds is to ensure that that very due diligence process occurs. I know this as previous president of the Treasury Board. Numerous times I sat around that table to ensure that the accountability, the due diligence relating to taxpayer dollars was being undertaken. All funding is subject to rigorous vetting, and as minister, I have doubled down on the importance of being prudent with Canadian taxpayer
But Minister,
dollars.
why
Thank
should,
you.
a-
Thank